This video is an opinion piece in response to a SlimeE101 video that's kind of horrible. With that being said, it's important to know that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, nor am I a researcher, so please set your expectations accordingly. This is just an opinion piece. SlimeE101's video about social media addiction doesn't make sense for multiple reasons, so let's go ahead and try and pick it apart and see what went wrong. Okay, so I'm going to define the word drug as any substance that isn't food, but invariably leads to physiological change in the mind or the body. I hope that we're cool with this definition. It seems to be the most accurate definition of the word drug that I can find online, and it really aligns with my experience of the first thing that I find wrong with this video, which is SlimeE1's implementation of the word drug makes no sense. I think if you're making accusatory claims about reality, you need to be more accurate, you need to be more specific. Sure, drug can be referring to cocaine or alcohol or even cigarettes, but it also refers to heart medication. An addictive substance isn't defined by its ability to create physiological change. It's defined by its ability to be addictive. So it's weird that you're referring to social media as a drug rather blanketly, and then just kind of vaguely alluding to the existence of addiction that some certain psychoactive drugs can have. Since we're on the topic of psychoactive, let's talk about neurotransmitters. More specifically, the fact that none of us, me included, are neurochemists. So we need to knock that shit off. Simply acknowledging the existence of dopamine does not a neurochemist make, nor a neurochemical researcher. This brings me to a video that I made 2 weeks ago, trying to rectify John Green's perception of himself as cigarettes. In essence, John Green compared himself to a substance like nicotine, which is almost exclusively addictive and also puts strain on your circulatory system. That makes no sense. If we're to make fair, honest comparisons about social media and its capitalizing on attention, we'd have to think of a psychoactive substance that also takes control of the attention and alertness parts of your brain. You know, like caffeine. I concluded that video by saying that John Green was more akin to a good cup of coffee as opposed to a cigarette, because that's a fairer comparison of what's actually happening in your brain. So SlimeE101 misunderstands the use of the word drug and also tries to pass himself off as a casual neurochemical researcher by saying dopamine in a magical way. But those are just mistakes that SlimeE101 has made. What's my actual problem with the video? My problem with SlimeE101's initial video is the same as my problem with this whole cohort of videos talking about social media addiction. A lot of them don't propose any actual actionable solutions to the problem of social media addiction because they fundamentally misunderstand the core of the problem. I think my shift in perspective from that of nicotine to caffeine actually gives us a better grapple on potential solutions for the problem of social media addiction. Not all sources of caffeine are created equal. There is a difference between a Starbucks cup of coffee and an Alani Nu energy drink. And so we need a better, more substantive way to evaluate videos outside of just plainly watching them, which will boost them in the algorithm. Basically, the first part of my solution is to bring dislikes back. We need some way to immediately judge a book by its cover that isn't just the thumbnail or the title. We need a way to immediately know whether someone likes or dislikes a video, whether it's actually creating buzz or controversy that's good and involved, or just straight up bad. If anything, I actually want to bring video ratings back. Yeah, I'm that old. Do you guys remember when YouTube had the video rating UI? God, I miss the old days. Anyways, so it's pretty obvious that consumers should have a user experience that should be founded on the ability to create well-informed choices. But the ability to choose a product relies just as much on the creator creating the product as much as it does the consumer for choosing that product over others. This is where I'm unfortunately going to praise Twitter, of all things, for the implementation of UX design that I actually really like. I'm of course referring to community notes. I haven't been on Twitter in months, so I don't know if the implementation of this specific design is still as good as I remember it, but in terms of YouTube, there should be a way for community to come together and offer corrections to a video before you even click on it. Imagine a drop-down tab that you can tap on whenever you see a particularly engaging thumbnail or title that gives this community-written blurb, not AI-written. I'm fucking watching you. Not AI written, but community written blurb that either corrects the video if it's wrong or praises the video if it's right. Do you know how fucking magical that would be? To make a long story motherfucking short, I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass. But to make a medium story even longer, I don't think that SlimeE101 intentionally tried to fearmonger about social media addiction, comparing it to drugs or anything like that. The rhetorical mistakes I see him make are the same types of rhetorical mistakes that I see that a lot of content creators make. So I'm not faulting him for being wrong. I want to bring attention to the fact that he is wrong. His interpretation of reality isn't as good as it could be. Thank you so much for consuming this video at the rapid pace that you consumed it at. Check in with me tomorrow where I'll be talking about the real cigarettes of YouTube, CGP Grey.